All right, today we are diving into two of the market's most fascinating and, let's be honest, most controversial tools, leveraged and inverse ETFs. Let's get right into it. So, here's the big question right from the start. Are these things a brilliant tool for smart investors, or are they really just a high-stakes bet dressed up as an investment? That's the two-sided coin we're going to explore.
So let's back up for a second. At their core, these products were designed as an innovation, right? A new kind of tool, meant to give investors more options for navigating the markets.
And this really sets the stage for how we should be thinking about this. The point isn't to just reject them out of hand. No. The goal is to find a sense of balance, to look at both the good and the bad, the opportunities and the risks, with clear eyes. Okay, so let's look at the shiny side of the coin first. What's the promise here? What makes these leveraged and inverse ETFs so attractive to so many people? Well, the appeal is pretty obvious when you lay it out like this. They give you a simple way to access really complex strategies, like magnifying your gains or betting against the market. And you can do it without needing a special derivatives account. And you definitely don't have to worry about those terrifying margin calls. For the market as a whole, it just adds more flavor and activity. So when you boil it all down, it comes down to one word: convenience. It's a huge convenience. These ETFs make strategies that used to be only for the pros accessible to just about anyone. And on the surface, that sounds like a big win. But is it really that simple? That feeling of ease? Well, that might just be the most dangerous part of this whole story. So now, let's flip that coin over.
Okay, this is where we get into the nitty-gritty, because hiding behind that simple, convenient package is a mechanism that a lot of investors just don't understand. And that misunderstanding, that's where the risk really comes from.
And here it is, the absolute heart of the matter, the daily reset. This is the engine that makes it all work, but it's also what makes these things so incredibly tricky. The fund aims to give you, say, double the return of an index. But, and this is the crucial part, only for a single day. After that, the clock resets and it all starts over. And this is exactly where things can go so wrong. See, with a normal ETF, you expect it to track an index pretty closely over weeks or months. But because of that daily reset, if you hold a leveraged ETF for longer than a day, the performance can start to look nothing like you'd expect. In a choppy market, the math of daily compounding can just eat you alive. And that gap? That's the trap. An investor sees a simple name, something catchy, and assumes it's straightforward. But the mechanics working under the hood mean it's a completely different animal, especially for anyone trying to invest for more than just one day. You know, this is why some critics are pretty blunt about it. They argue that for the average person, these products aren't really an investment tool at all. They're much closer to a legalized form of betting, like a spin of a roulette wheel. So that begs the question, right? If retail investors are facing such a high probability of loss, who's actually benefiting here? Well, this chart kind of spells it out. The fund managers get their fees, the brokers get their trading volume, the whole industry machine profits. Meanwhile, the uninformed investor often ends up on the losing end. So, we've seen the promise and the peril. The next logical question is, what do we do about it? How do we get the good parts of this innovation without causing so much harm? The source material proposes a path forward, and it involves 3 essential safeguards. And really, it all comes down to this. First, we need strong, clear education so people actually understand how that daily reset works. Second, honest disclosures, not buried in fine print, but right up front telling you exactly what to expect. And third, proper suitability checks to make sure these complex tools are only being sold to investors who get the risks and know how to use them correctly. This brings us full circle, right back to our central theme. It's not about banning these products. It's about finding the right balance, creating a system where the benefits can be used responsibly without causing all this unintended damage. Ultimately, this quote just says it all. Any innovation has to come with integrity. We have to be honest about who these tools are for, how they really work, and what happens when they're misused. That's what responsible leadership in the financial world looks like. And here's the hopeful takeaway. If we put those safeguards in place, education, disclosure, and suitability, these ETFs can find their proper place in the market. They can be a valuable tool for those who know how to use them, and they can do it without being a threat to the average investor. So we end where we started, but with a new twist. Is it an innovation, or is it a gamble? Well, maybe the answer depends entirely on who takes responsibility. Is it on the industry to create safer products? The regulators to set tougher rules? Or does it all fall back on us,
the individual investors, to know exactly what we're getting into. That's something to really think about.